Hi class, today we are on Saxon Math Book 3, Lesson 63, and this is the second part of our area lesson. So in the first part, I talked to you about square feet, square inches, square yards, where we're using squares, like this picture here, to measure the area of something, how much space it takes up. So in our first example, we have this picture, this little grid here. It says the floor of a small room is covered with 1 foot square tiles. Bill counted 10 tiles along the top and 10 tiles along the side of a perpendicular wall. How many tiles covered the whole floor, and what was the area of the room? So we had 10 this way and 10 this way. Do I want to count each individual tile here? 1, 2, 3, 4. That would take forever. These are a lot. So instead, I'm going to count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Well, what kind of equation can I write that would show 10 groups of 10? Do we add to find groups? Do we subtract? Do we multiply? Do we divide? To find 10 groups of 10, we want to multiply. So I could also figure out this problem by knowing what 10 times 10 is. 10 groups of 10, or 10 times 10, is 100. So I have 100, and our problem said these were square feet. So I would write feet, and then my little 2 to show that it's square feet. So this carpet was 100 square feet. All right, if you are in my class and you pick up your materials at school, you guys are going to have 2 of these. They are 1 foot squares. They're 12 inches by 12 inches, and I attached them to your lesson plans for this week. If you're not in my class and I did not provide these for you, you can make them out of a paper bag or maybe some art paper that you have hanging around your house. You just want to measure it, make sure it's 12 inches by 12 inches. And then there's an activity. We are going to estimate area of different objects in our house. So, for example, if I were going to estimate the area of my whiteboard, I would look at it and kind of picture these squares covering it up. And I might say, I think my whiteboard is going to be 30 square feet. Once I make my estimate, so you guess first, you look at the object and you guess how many of these you think it will take to cover it up. Then you're going to measure. So I would put 1 here, line it up with the top, and then take your second one, put it right underneath and line it up. So there's 2 square feet. Then I have 3 square feet, 4 square feet, and then it almost goes to the bottom there. So then I'd come over here and say 5 square feet, 6 square feet, 7 square feet. So you get the idea. You're going to be measuring your surfaces with your square feet tiles. You might choose your kitchen table, you might choose your front door, or the surface of your bed. It says, use 2 1-foot squares to help you estimate the area of some rectangular surfaces in the classroom. So since you guys are all learning at home, you're going to pick rectangular surfaces in your home to be able to estimate how big they are and then measure how big they are using your squares. Once you have chosen an object, made an estimate, so you're guessing how big it is first, then you can measure it. Once you've done those three things, then you're going to draw a picture of the rectangular surface, and you're going to draw the grid. So for example, if I were doing my whiteboard, here's my piece of paper. That's my notebook paper, has lines all across it. I would draw my whiteboard. My whiteboard is a very wide rectangle, so I might do that. And then I'm going to draw the grid. So let's say I measured and it was 10 across. I would want to split this into 10. So usually I split it in half, and then I split one half into 5 sections, and then I'll split the other half into 5 sections. And then it was 4 from top to bottom. So there is my whiteboard. My measurements would be 4 feet on this side, 10 feet across this side, and my total area, if I have 4, remember over here how we did 10 times 10 and we ended up with 100? Can I do that here? Can I say that I have 4 groups of 10? I sure can, and 4 times 10 would give me 40. So the area of my whiteboard would be 40 square feet, approximately. Okay, we have one more example, and we're going to move on to this picture. So real quick, let me erase here. Okay, so taking a look at this picture, there's no grid, there's no little squares. The problem says, this picture shows a piece of carpet that is 3 yards long and 2 yards wide. The carpet covers an area of how many square yards? Well, I don't have squares that I could count. But remember, we know a trick. We know that we can multiply the length times the width, or I could also draw the squares in. I know that this is 2 yards. So if I split it in half, I know that this is 1 yard and this is 1 yard. Across my length here, that's 3 yards. So I would split that into 3 equal pieces. And we have 1 yard, 2 yards, 3 yards there. Now I have a grid. Now I could just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or I could say, oh, I know that 2 times 3 equals 6. And my units here, it's yards. 6 yards. What shape are those yards in? They're square yards. So I have to have my little 2 next to the yards to show square yards. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I would like for you to get a whiteboard or a piece of paper. You are going to do the lesson practice problems. If you'd like to read them for yourself, they are on page 342. Otherwise, listen close, and I'm going to read them for you. Go get a whiteboard, Riker. Okay, the first problem says the floor of a small room is covered with 1 foot square tiles. Bill counted 6 tiles along one wall and 8 tiles along a perpendicular wall. How many tiles will cover the entire floor? So I'm going to take this one and just get rid of a couple because he counted 6 across. So if I get rid of these, we'll have 6 across. And he counted 8 along the perpendicular wall. So here, now we have 6 1-foot tiles going this way and 8 1-foot tiles going this way. And the question says, how many tiles cover the room? Or, I'm sorry, how many tiles cover the whole floor? And what is the area of the room? Put me on pause so that you can figure that one out on your own. Okay, so we have 8 going one way, 6 going another way. Do I want to count them all by ones? No. I'm going to count by 8s or I'm going to count by 6s. So let's turn this into a multiplication problem. We have 8 groups of 6. Oh man, in 3rd grade, I might not have memorized that yet. So I'm going to have to use some strategies to figure it out. So, one strategy, we could count by 6, 8 times. Here's a second strategy. What's 8 groups of 5? 8 times 5, that's easy. We know that one. That's 40. Well, what if I have one more group of 8? I said 8 groups of 5. Let me rearrange that. Let's say 5 groups of 8 is 40. And I'm looking for 6 groups of 8. So if I have 5 groups of 8 here and it gives me 40, what would one more group of 8 add to that? It would add 8 more. So 6 times 8 gives me 48. That was a little how I do it quick in my head kind of strategy. If that confused you, then don't worry about it. Go back to counting by 6s or counting by 8s. Use the strategy that works for you. But we've got 48 elephants, 48 square feet. 48 square feet for problem A. Problem B says how many square yards of carpet are needed to cover the floor of a room that is 4 yards wide and 5 yards long. You can use color tiles to help you answer this question. So if you guys have square tile manipulatives at home and you want to use those to answer this, you can go grab them. Otherwise, I say when in doubt, draw it out. So we're going to draw a picture. Let's see, they told us it was 4 yards wide and 5 yards long. So 4 this way, 5 this way. I could draw in the square grid if I wanted, but I'm getting pretty good at this multiplication stuff now, and I know that if I do 4 times 5, I'm going to end up with my area. So 4 times 5, I could count by 5s really quick. 5, 10, 15, 20. 4 times 5 equals 20. 20 what? 20 yards square, or 20 square yards. All right, and problem C has a table for us. Square yards, square feet, and it goes up to 6. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it shows us this table with square yards compared to square feet. In 1 square yard, there are 9 square feet. In 2 square yards, there are 18 square feet. And here's what the problem says. 1 square yard is 9 square feet. Copy and complete the table below. So They gave us this information. I want to go a little deeper with this because this is a concept that tends to be tricky. And you don't use it so much in 3rd grade. You might see it a little bit next year in 4th grade. But boy, 5th, 6th grade, they're going to have you converting between square feet and square yards. And it's so much easier if you can picture it. So if this is 1 square yard, this is my square yard, right? 1 yard is equal to how many feet? If you remember, think of a yardstick. 1 yard is going to be 3 feet. So I'm going to measure, or not measure, I'm going to mark 3 feet here and 3 feet along the top. Now it looks like I'm doing something funny because I have a square here, so I know that all the sides are the same, but I labeled some of them as a yard and some of them as 3 feet. That looks strange. However, 3 feet is the same thing as a yard. So I can even get rid of this 1 yard measurement. But I want you to remember, I haven't changed the square. This is still 1 square yard. Now I'm just looking at it as feet. I'm going to draw a grid to separate my feet. Okay, so I took my 1 yard and I broke it into 1, 2, 3 feet. And then this way I broke it into 1, 2, 3 feet. And look how many square feet I end up with. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 square feet. That's what this problem is telling you. They're saying if you have 1 square yard, it's going to take 9 square feet in order to end up with that same square yard. If we change the units, if we use a smaller unit like a square foot compared to a square yard, it takes 9 of them to cover the same amount of space. So let's go back to our problem. Knowing that it takes 9 square feet to cover 1 square yard, they want us to fill in this table. So pause me, fill the table in for yourself, and then come back when you're ready to see the answer. So we can see that we're counting by 9s here. 9, 18. What's 18 plus 9? Riker? Riker got 27. What's 27 plus 9? 36. 36 plus 9? 45. And 54. And this is a table, so our labels are over here already. They're telling us everything in this row is talking about square feet versus everything in this row is talking about square yards. Boys and girls, that is the end of your lesson for today. Please turn to page 343 and complete your written practice. If you have any questions or need help with any of the math that you've done over the last week, you can check in with me on Teams this afternoon. Check your messages and it'll tell you what time I'm available. So I hope you have a great day and I will talk to you soon.